Hello, I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. Thank you for your time. I'm continuing with the Black Lives Matter investigations, and I'm focusing now on the Black Lives Matter entities that earned 501c3 status. This is part 2 of the investigations. Today, I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm asking the question, where is the tax-free money? Because again, the Black Lives Matter entities I'm focusing on in part 2 of the series are the Black Lives Matter entities that earned 501c3 status. So therefore, the money they generate is tax-free. So I'm asking the question, where is the tax-free money? So again, this is part 2, Black Lives Matter investigations, and we're focusing on Black Lives Matter 501c3 nonprofit organizations. Here are the Black Lives Matter 501c3 nonprofit organizations according to the list on the IRS.gov website. You have Black Lives Matter in Charleston, South Carolina. You have Black Lives Matter 2 in Middleburg, Florida. You have Black Lives Matter 5280 in Denver, Colorado. You have Black Lives Matter Foundation in Canyon Country, California. Black Lives Matter Vancouver, WA, which is in Vancouver, Washington. Black Lives Matter VT Limited in Winooska, Vermont. Black Lives Matter VT Limited in Atlanta, Georgia. Black Lives Matter VT Limited in Bronx, New York. Black Lives Matter Lake County in Zion, Illinois. Black Lives Matter Help Us in Riverside, California. Black Lives Matter Help Us in Seattle, Washington. And Black Lives Matter Help Us in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Black Lives Matter Help Us in Burlington, Vermont. And Black Lives Matter Help Us in Savannah, Georgia. Savannah, Georgia recently earned 501c3 status. So there are a total of 14 entities with Black Lives Matter in its name that earn 501c3 status according to IRS.gov. Now, the investigation is going to answer the following questions: leadership names, mailing address, phone number, email or social media, Secretary of State, IRS 501c3 status, whether donations are accepted, the donations processor, and where is the money. So here are the results for Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm going to walk you through the steps of how I came about these answers. But in Charleston, South Carolina, on the website, the Black Lives Matter Charleston division, there were no leadership names listed. A mailing address wasn't listed. A phone number wasn't listed. They do have an email address and they have a Facebook account. Now, I'm not quite sure about the Facebook account because it says Black Lives Matter Charleston. However, they don't have the website listed on the Facebook page, so I can't be sure if it's the same Black Lives Matter Charleston as the website. The Secretary of State does not have a listing for Black Lives Matter Charleston in South Carolina. The IRS 501c3 status is revoked. They do not have a 501c3 status anymore. However, on the next one, you see that they are accepting donations. Now, they have a revoked status, but they're still accepting donations, which is fraud. The donations processor is PayPal. And where is the money? We don't know, because they never filed a Form 990 information return, which is the form that's used to report the revenues your nonprofit organization generates. So that was not provided on the IRS.gov website. So I'm going to pause my screen just for a moment so that I can pull up those websites quickly and walk you through the steps to prove what I've just shared. So just one moment, please. Thank you for your patience, but if you've been following me for a while, you know that I don't share information unless I can prove it. So I'm going to first pull up the irs.gov website so that you can see the information that I just shared about this organization. So you should be looking at the irs.gov website, and I've already gone to the results for tax exempt organizations search page. And this is where you would go in order to check the status of nonprofit organizations. So I've already gone here and I've already typed in the search term of Black Lives Matter, and the results are listed here. Now, again, if you've been following me for a while, you know that whenever I used to come here, there would only be 13 results. But again, Savannah, Georgia just received 501c3 status. So that's why it's 14. So we're talking about Black Lives Matter in Charleston, South Carolina, North Charleston, South Carolina, to be specific. And right away, you know that their status is revoked because you see auto revocation list. Anytime you see auto revocation list, you know that the status is revoked. So I'm going to click on the link to Black Lives Matter North Charleston, and I'm going to let you see the results of clicking on the link. Now here we are, it has auto revocation list. And the auto revocation list, here's the definition of this list. Organizations whose federal tax exempt status was automatically revoked for not filing a Form 990 series return or notice for 3 consecutive years. Now, important note, just because an organization appears on this list, it does not mean the organization is currently revoked, as they may have been reinstated. However, if they were reinstated, there would be a reinstatement date here where this highlighted section is. So the North Charleston chapter of Black Lives Matter does not have a 501c3 status. As a matter of fact, according to the exemption type, they didn't have 501c3 status anyway. They had a 501c4 status. There are 28 different types of 501c3, 501c statuses. So they had a 501c4, which means if you look at the status, it was registered as civic leagues, social welfare organizations, and local association of employees. So they didn't have the, I won't say they didn't have the correct status, but they did not have the most beneficial status when they were operating as a nonprofit organization. They should have chosen the 501c3 status. But nevertheless, they don't have any status because their status was revoked on 5/15/2018. So that lets us know they received their 501c3 status in 2015, but they failed to file the Form 990 information return for 3 consecutive years, so the IRS automatically revoked their status. The revocation date was 5/15/2018. However, the IRS posted the revocation on the website here on 8/13/2015. So they were revoked in May, and the IRS posted the revocation in August of that year. So that proves that they don't have 501c3 status at all. So now I'm going to go over to the South Carolina Secretary of State's office, because when an organization states it has 501c3 status, then they should be registered with the Secretary of State office in the state in which they plan to operate, because you have to have an approved, filed articles of incorporation on the Secretary of State's website before you can apply for 501c3 status. Well, let me rephrase that. It doesn't have to be on the website to apply, but the Secretary of State's office has to approve your articles of incorporation before the IRS will award 501c3 status. So let me show you how I search for Black Lives Matter Charleston. I'm going to click on search existing entities, and I'm simply going to type in Black Lives Matter, because if they registered in South Carolina under that name, then they will be here with the Secretary of State's office. So I'm going to click on search, And there are results for Black Lives Matter, but it's Black Lives Matter Alert LLC. And that wouldn't be it, but I'm going to click on it just to show you that's not the one for Charleston. And this one was just incorporated, but the articles were incorporated on 6/10/2020. It's in good standing, and it is in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, but it's a limit liability company. Okay. So that's not Black Lives Matter Charleston. And again, this is the South Carolina Secretary of State's office. So this is where you would go when you want to check the filing of articles of incorporation of nonprofit organizations. You would go to the state in which they operate to see what their status is on the state level. Okay, so now let's go to Black Lives Matter Charleston itself, the website. This is the Black Lives Matter Charleston website, and this is the home page. It states the mission, objectives of mission, strategy to meet objectives, and then an invitation to follow them on Facebook. When I clicked on Facebook, though, it went to a page that didn't exist anymore. So that's why I don't know if the page that says Black Lives Matter Charleston actually correlates with this page or not. Because when I clicked on this link, it went to a dead end. And this is the hashtag Black Lives Matter Charleston. Now, I'm glancing at the mission, the objectives of the mission, and the strategy to meet objectives. I can say that even though I haven't read this, I applaud them for at least putting something in writing. This is better than what I've seen on some websites for Black Lives Matter. Let's look at the campaigns. What type of campaigns do they have going? So these are designed to promote broad-based participation and cooperation amongst youth and elders, elected officials and community members, and across class and race in order to arrive at a vision of how to overcome persistent social inequities at a grassroots level. Okay? So here are the goals, and I haven't read them. So I don't really know what the goals are, to be honest with you, but you can go to the website and read. But if you want to sign up to help and saying I can commit 2 hours a week towards whatever you want to commit toward, and then you just sign up to help. Next, speaking of help, let's click on Help Out. And this, of course, is going to be where you're going to see their request for money. The People's Assembly to End Police Brutality by Community Oversight. We do this for Walter Scott. You may remember Walter Scott was literally shot in his back as he was running away from the police officer a few years ago. And so this page just kind of gives you a lead up to a request for money. Want to help? In what ways can you help? And you can select ways in which you want to help. I think a good idea would be to have these as linked options so that you can click on it and see exactly what you're signing up for. Or if you just want to donate. So you click on donate, click on the donate button, and you can see that PayPal is the processor for their donations. So that's Black Lives Matter Charleston. I'm going to pause the screen for just one moment so I can wrap this up. Thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciate your patience. So again, here are the results. And as you can see, I have columns for some of the other Black Lives Matter 501c3 nonprofit organizations that I'm going to fill in as we go through these investigations. So again, here's Charleston. There are no leadership names on the website, no mailing address, no phone number, I'm sorry, there is an email and social media information. There is email information, there is social media information. Secretary of State doesn't have any information about this organization. The IRS revoked the status, but yet they are accepting donations. We saw that you could click on the donate button and make a donation if you want to. And that's illegal. That's fraud. Because if I made a donation with the intent of being able to write it off, I wouldn't be able to do that because they don't have a 501c3 status. The donations processor is PayPal, and we don't know where the money is going. We can assume the money is going toward the mission, but what would really help them is if they would have a budget with itemized listings of things in which they are going to use the money on their website. That would be very beneficial, but we didn't see that, or I didn't. Okay, so where do I stand? As a Black woman from South Carolina, I've seen my share of racist behavior. I've been discriminated against myself. I've been mistreated because of my race. Of course, my family has been mistreated because of their race, family members. So where do I stand on this whole Black Lives Matter situation? I support the Black Lives Matter statement of fact. I support the slogan because I'm Black. I mean, why wouldn't I support Black Lives Matter statement of fact as a Black person? So I do support the statement. I do believe and know that Black lives do matter. I do not support the Black Lives Matter movement, protests, chapters, or entities because they do not have formal leadership structure, measurable goals or objectives, standard operational practices, financial transparency or accountability, or a valid sustainability and long-term plans. I can't support organizations where I do not know how they're using the money. And it makes me so angry when I think about how many millions of dollars that people are giving to blacklivesmatter.com specifically when they really think they are helping the Black community. And none of the money really trickles down to the Black community. I've already talked about that in the video, Follow the Money. So you can click on the Follow the Money video and you can see that we can follow it a little bit, but we don't know where the money ultimately ends up. But I know that it doesn't end up in the Black community. You can look around and tell. I want to thank you so much. YouTube channel, I really appreciate it. Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. Of course, you know that I am a nonprofit consultant and I help people start, fund, manage, reinstate, and sustain their 501c3 nonprofit organization. I also have a video that's very, very popular called the Online Grant Writing Masterclass that people take and learn how to write grant proposals in the privacy of their homes, around their schedules, at their pace. So please feel free to visit my website at www.trustsusanwoods.com. I would also like to invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the video if you like it, and click on the bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. Also, I want to say a special thank you to those of you who take the time to leave comments and suggestions and links to additional information about Black Lives Matter. I thank you so much for that because I need all of the help in the research that I can get. As you can imagine, the research process is what is so time consuming because you know I want to provide accurate information. So thank you so much for helping me in that endeavor. Again, this is Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. Thank you and have a good day.